say my name. You're damn right. Oh, hold up. Actually, my name is Optimus Prime. And this is a message going, I'm just messing around, guys. How's it going? My name is Trey Tietzen, and you have come to the right place when it comes to reviews. This is going to be my first review, so it may be a little longer than 5 minutes. But I will be reviewing the newest book by Dean Koontz, titled Ashley Bell, as well as the first season Blu Ray treatment of Better Call Saul. I know these two seem a little unrelated, but it's I have so many DVDs, books, etc. that I have to kind of narrow them down, and so those two items to me took a minute to get through, just because they're pretty voluminous, if you want to say that. But needless to say, let's get this story off the road. So, coming to the first title that I was going to review, Ashley Bell. It is a book by Dean Koontz, and now he writes. He's one of those writers. He's not as bad as James Patterson when it comes to putting out a book a week. He puts a book out every 6 months at least, and it's always, it's something. It's always got some kind of hook. The main series that I enjoyed from Dean Koontz was a series called, it was the Odd Thomas series, and it was about a guy who could see ghosts, and supernatural. It was an interesting take on it because it wasn't overly crazy. It was, it was subdued, and he didn't ever go too crazy with it. Yeah, some of the storylines were pretty. I mean, I don't know where Dean Koontz comes up with some of this stuff, but maybe that's why he's a writer, and maybe that's why he sold tons of books, and that's why he gets paid to do that. But needless to say, Ashley Bell is a new book that he put out, and it's a little longer than most of his books. This book is like 500 and something pages. So it's way more than I expected from a Dean Koontz novel. But it's one of those where you could feel that he really seemed to care about what he was writing. And just to give you a synopsis, and I'm not going to ruin it in any way, because it's one of those books where you do need to read it, and by the end of it, you're going to be like, huh, okay. But from the title, don't let it confuse you. The main character's name is B.B. Blair, and she is diagnosed with brain cancer, or a certain type of brain cancer, and her the way that the character's written, she doesn't accept defeat in any way, shape, or form, and so she basically challenges that prognosis, and from there the story, veers and goes where it is. She's a writer, and she's published a couple books, and at that point she basically calls off life as she knows it and says, well, we're going to try to defeat this thing. This isn't necessarily a spoiler, but within a day of her learning that she has brain cancer, she is cured by a stranger, and tasked with a mission to try and find a girl and save her life. And this girl's name is Ashley Bell, and that's where the book gets its name. I would definitely recommend it. There's a huge deal in the book, and I don't want to even allude to it by accident, so I'm just going to leave it at that. But it's a good character-driven story. I liked it. It's not as it's almost up there, like strong-wise, when it comes to the characters, as Odd Thomas is. Odd Thomas, I thought, was a really well fleshed out character, and he's doing the same with this character, and I believe that in the future there will probably be another or a series of books in this, using this same character. But I could be wrong, as it could be a standalone, just like a lot of his other books could be. But moving
to cap off my reviews, and this will be in the future, I'll try to be a little better about this, but I'm going to try to just, rate them from 1 to 5, 1 being terrible, and, 5 being really good, and you'll notice that a 5 is normally really well earned for me, just because, there's always something that people pick at, so... But with Ashley Bell, I'm going to give it about a 4 out of 5. It was a good book. It moved well. The pacing was well. The only issue, and the reason it's not a 5 out of 5, is because the last 150 pages seemed to go on a little bit past where I would have cut it by about 150 pages. But that was an editing decision, and that's something that. He and his editors came on, and moving right along, as you can see now, the video's creeping up there in time. I said it was going to be a little difficult to get it under 5 minutes, but we'll try. We'll try in the future to try to get that done. But now moving on to Better Call Saul. If you've been living under a hole or under a rock or in a cave somewhere, then you probably haven't heard about this show. It's a spinoff of Breaking Bad, and it's centered around the lawyer, the real sleazy lawyer that Jesse and Walt employ in Breaking Bad, and it's basically his origin story. It's one of those where you didn't expect it to be as successful as it was. When I watched the first few episodes, I was really surprised. It drew me in, and it's actually kind of one of those shows where you really have to be story driven to enjoy it. And so, if you're looking for an action, like Breaking Bad had episodes where there was a lot of action in them, and that might be something that turns people off to the show, just because Better Call Saul is more of a story driven narrative, and it seems like the creator of the show. He really wanted to just tell a story. He didn't want to be, hemmed in by, real crazy plot twists and how is Walter, how is he getting out of this one? And he just wanted to tell a story. And the attention to detail in the episodes are pretty crazy. I mean, it's it's kind of almost like a period piece, setting back the early 2000s in New Mexico. There's a lot of stuff, whenever the characters interact with them. I had my dad. He was like, "Hey, yeah, that's pretty crazy." I remember back in the 2000s, and I was a younger kid, and he remembers stuff, like the cell phones they used and all that. And you see Saul using those kind of things in the show, and so the attention to detail is pretty high. The story itself is actually very interesting. You kind of feel bad for the guy because he's a lawyer. He's trying to live up to his brother's expectations. His brother's a lawyer in a firm who has come down with a mysterious illness, and so Saul has to kind of take care of him. And you feel kind of bad for Saul because he seems to be getting put through the grinder. He can't seem to get enough clients to get his life on track. And he kind of goes through. You see him going through the initial phases of where he'll eventually become Saul, but at this point he's not Saul. That's not his name. He hasn't changed his name, and so he's his name's just Jimmy McGill. So and there's a couple of criminal activities he's tempted with at first, and he tries to steer clear, but. In the end, we all know that he's going to become that sleazy lawyer, and so it's like, all right, how does he get there? But with Better Call Saul, they released basically they have uncensored episodes, 3 of them actually on this Blu Ray treatment, and those are actually pretty good because you hear language and stuff like that, some other things that you wouldn't necessarily hear on AMC, and that's entertaining because I'm a big boy. When I buy the DVD, let's not put any. I don't want to hear any beeps in there or anything like that. Just present it to me Raw. I bought the DVD. I made the money. I want to watch it. So, put it up there. But needless to say, it's got a lot of special features. I didn't necessarily look at the special features too much. I know a lot of aficionados are immediately sneering at me and going, "Oh no!" But to be honest with you, I think I looked at the they had some deleted scenes and stuff like that I looked at, and those are things that I'll be diving into. But mainly, I was reviewing the show itself. If you didn't have access to those special features and this, I'm not promoting the product. I'm just basically saying, hey, if you have a chance, go and take a look at it. Because I don't get paid by these people. I would love to, but I don't. So, with that being said, Better Call Saul is one of those shows where I hate it that Jimmy's going to become such a bad guy in the future. And so that to me makes it a 4 out of 5, just because I know that a lot of people are going to watch the show and they're not really going to know. They're just going to, the only thing they heard was something about Breaking Bad, and they were like, oh, okay, all right, cool, and that's all they're going to watch. And they're not actually going to, they're not going to appreciate the hard work that Gillian put into the show. And that's just that's the reason I give it a 4 out of 5, because it could be polarizing, and I'd like to see how the show ends. I know how it ends ultimately, but I want to see how he gets there. So with those two reviews, you have just listened to my first official cast, and it'll actually be going out on Thursday. I'm going to be out of town tomorrow. And so I'm hoping that this will be a good trend. I've seen that a lot of people have been taking a look at it and seeing, what do we got here? And I appreciate it, and I ask you to hang in there with me as I perfect the method. Now, a lot of this is pre-recorded, and it's not necessarily live because, I don't know, that would make me a lot more nervous, but maybe not, because it wouldn't be recorded. But, needless to say, I appreciate you guys listening to me, and this is Trey. And if you weren't able to tell at the beginning of the episode, that was me trying to speak like Walter White in the episode, but I did omit the curse words there, for people who just don't want to hear that while they're listening about certain things. But let me know what you think and any kind of comments on YouTube, or if you have access to Spreaker, send me a message. Let me know what you think. All right, it was good. It was good visiting with you guys, and you have a great weekend.